Hey there, it's Rachel from All About Planners. In this video I'm going to do a quick review of the Scrivwell notebook. So this one has a dot grid layout, so you could use it for bullet journaling. I'm going to do a quick comparison to the Leutram, I'm not sure I said that right, bullet journal notebook as well, so you can decide if it's worth splurging or if something cheaper like the Scrivwell will work for your bullet journaling needs. So in terms of the page size, the Scrivwell notebook is about 5.25 inches wide by approximately 8 inches high. So it is a bit more narrower than the bullet journal, I have it here, notebook. So as you can see, there is a bit of extra space with that one. I personally prefer the wider page size, so this one here, because I do lots of list making and you can rule up 2 columns in this one and still have a fair bit of room to write. Whereas if you rule up 2 columns in the narrow ones like this one, and I also did a review of the minimalism art, which is, I've got it here, a similar page size as well in terms of like being quite narrow. So yeah, they're not ideal for list making because it gets so bunched up and you have to use multiple lines and it just gets messy. So yeah, in terms of the width, much prefer this one. They're both got the book-bound style with the elastic band. The Scrivwell is a bit fatter than the Leutram. I think I've still said it wrong, but I'm just going to roll with that. It does still have a built-in ribbon bookmark, and they're both lightweight because they do have that sewn binding. So in terms of the weight, I don't really think that's a deciding factor because they're both quite similar. This one's a bit lighter. So let's have a look inside. So you get no contents page, like index. There's no key page. There's no future logs. It's just a plain dot grid notebook. And if I get this thing off it, you'll also notice when I go to the dot grid pages that there are no page numbers. So yeah, it's a super cheap notebook. I think it was like 10 bucks. Whereas this one was a bit more expensive. Might have been like 30, 40 bucks. I'll have to check that. And I'm also talking in AUD dollars. So I might just put the USD price in the blog post, which will be linked in the description box below. And then you can convert that into your currency, because I feel like I'm just going to be misleading if I start quoting prices, because I know everyone lives everywhere else in the world, all different currencies, etc. Okay, so yeah, no page numbers on this one, which can be kind of annoying if you're going to have to write that up yourself. However, if you are wanting a book, which I'm going to use this one for, as like a, I guess like scratch paper to draft up some layouts before you put them in your final bullet journal notebooks, if you want something that can be messy, just get like all your colored pens and do your pen testing, check your like themes if you like how colors look together before you use them in your final spread, then I do think a notebook like this one or the minimalism art is a good idea, because you don't have to worry about keeping it neat. It's cheap, so you don't feel like you're wasting it. You can go messy with it. Even though it's cheap, if you probably noticed as I've been talking, the pages are laying flat pretty well, which I'm actually quite impressed with, because normally these book-bound notebooks tend to just want to self-close. It's actually staying open, which is really good. Nice surprise. So at the back here, I did some pen testing. So I'll start with the normal pens. So obviously the Papermate, my all-time favorite pens, the Muji Hexa pens, all the usual suspects, the Friction stamps, the Mamby stamps, and some highlighters. So in terms of ghosting, yeah, you do get quite a bit of it. I don't know what it is, but these hardbound notebooks, they just have crap paper quality, where you can always see the ink on the back side of the page, which drives me nuts. So when I use this notebook, I'm going to be not writing like on the back side of the page, because it just irritates me so much when I see that. And then it did the same with the highlighters too. See, super bad ghosting. And my cheapy highlighter bled through the paper, which I was not impressed with. And then I did some brush pen testing, because they're always good to add a bit of color using the brush pens. Now I know they're more like inky, but yeah, they still had quite a bit of ghosting. The paper on this Scrivwell, on the cheaper notebook, did not feel like it was good quality, which I mean, I guess you get that for a cheaper book. But like, keep in mind, if you're going to use your brush pens, it will probably wreck the tips. So I've pretty much given up on brush lettering. It doesn't look as pretty as it does on all those ones you see on Instagram. I'm just like, nah, I don't have time to properly learn it, so I'm just going to use them for normal planning. So I don't particularly care if the ends get blunt, because I'm just going to use them like for lines and things. But if you are going to want to keep them for your brush lettering, maybe it is for you better off getting the better paper quality in the bullet journal, where it won't blunt your tips as much of the pens. You could also get cheapy brush pens. You don't have to use expensive Tombows, or you could try the Crayola Super Tips. You can also use them for lettering as well. In terms of a comparison with the Leuchtturm, I'm never going to say it right. Okay, so the ghosting is actually probably a bit worse on this one, but the paper feels a lot smoother and thinner, and this one it feels a bit thicker. Yeah, it's actually quite a bit thicker. And yeah, pens and everything bled through, so I mean, you're not really getting much extra for the extra price. You're still getting a notebook that bleeds through. I suppose it is a bit less for the pens, but on the whole, I do think the paper quality could be vastly improved on these notebooks. The bullet journal notebook has the tips on how to use it, which you can just find for free online anyway. This one doesn't have that at all. Also, remember, didn't have the index page or the future log. It's just a dot grid notebook. You do get a built-in pocket folder like you do with the bullet journal notebook, and you do get the elastic band to keep it closed. So you're not really getting much extra for the bullet journal. To be honest, if you're just starting out, then I'd go with this one because it has those tips pages and it's like a done for you version. But if you've done it a few times, you could go for the cheaper version if you don't mind putting in the page numbers and you want to go like freehand and have complete control and just do your own thing, or do what I'm going to do, which is turn this into like a draft scratch paper notebook where I'm going to do some planner ideas with the layouts before I use them in my final. So I hope you found this review helpful. I'll have links to the other notebooks that I've reviewed. So there was the Minimalism Art one, this one here, and then I've also done the Otto Dot Journal, the Scribbles That Matter notebook, and the Rhodia Gold book as well. So all those links will be in the description box below. I've done pen testing for all of them. If you want to compare, then I hope you find those reviews helpful. I'll include those links. Don't forget to subscribe. The button is also down below if you want to see more planner review videos. I don't just do bullet journals. This is actually kind of a new thing for me. I was against doing bullet journaling, but now I've seen all those pretty spreads on Instagram, and I'm just going to cave and give it a go. I might like it, might not, but I'm going to try it out. But usually I do planner review videos of like plum paper and, you know, all the more popular planners, and I'll have those links to my YouTube channel below. Don't forget to subscribe as well, and I'll see you in the next video.